During the 44 years of my mortal existence, I have discovered a stark reality of truth, that sometimes from the deepest, darkest fears of night can come some of the brightest lights of comprehension. I have been a night shift truck driver for nearly 23 years of my life, and this has been the lifeblood and income and stability for my family throughout these years. Now, initially, my career plans never included driving an 18-wheel truck down endless miles of highway. However, as I became a father, I found the familial need increasingly to become more of a breadwinner for the family. Now, in the summer of 1996, I started a job with a company called That's Trucking. Now, initially, I started as a dock worker and was offered a part-time job so that I could not only provide for my family but pay for school. Eventually, I was able to be offered a full-time position where I was able to drive a truck like this on a truck route. Now, my truck route included driving from Pocatello to Salt Lake and then to Twin Falls. With this truck route came 401k and insurance benefits that I couldn't turn down. So eventually I decided to forego my education and accept this driving position. Now, as with any job, you have to learn new job skills. And there were several years that I learned, was able to learn how to drive through winter driving and drive triple trailers through these conditions, and also figure out a way to navigate through some of the Salt Lake City forms of road rage that you experience when you're driving down there. Now, through these experiences and skills that I was building, the winter of 1999 became the hardest test of my driving experience that I would ever have. And particularly the night of February 19th, 1999. This became a record-setting snowstorm that soon was legendary in status. Now, on this particular night, as I was driving home from Salt Lake to Pocatello, I was struggling to keep my truck on the road through snowdrifts, through wind, and through a chain up on a mountain pass. I had to endure many of these things. Now, eventually I made it home to Pocatello, and I was so happy that my adventure, if you want to call it an adventure, had ended. Now, unfortunately, my boss called me and told me that I had to make an extended trip to Twin Falls. Now, I was worried because of the roads. So I expressed my worries to my dispatcher, who then in return told me this freight, it is imperative that it gets to Twin Falls, and that questions of my ability to drive in these kind of conditions would be judged afterwards. Now, I had a twinge of fear that I did not understand at the time. And I didn't know if it was guilt, if it was just fear, doubtful feelings of driving my truck, or what was it that I was feeling? Now, reluctantly, I told the dispatcher I would do it, despite these fears. So I began to make preparations to go to Twin Falls. Now, during my preparations going to Twin Falls, I again experienced this twinge of doubt come upon my mind. And this time it was a whispering voice that said, "Do not go." Now, I have never been faced with a dilemma like this where I had to make a spiritual decision in a work setting. So I called my dispatcher back and expressed my fears once again. And once again, he told me, "You better get this freight to Twin Falls or your job will be in jeopardy." Now, with the fears of job loss, I soon, decided that I needed to try to do my best and get to Twin Falls. With confused feelings, I soon proceeded down the road until I came to what I thought was an answer to my prayers, a roadblock, a road closed sign. So as I got to the road closed sign, I called my dispatcher and told them the situation. Well, he told me that there was a frontage road that I must take and try to get on the freeway because once again, it was imperative that I get the freight to Twin Falls. At this time, there was an ever increasing feeling in my heart and another whispering in my mind that said, "Do not go." And this time I really did know that this was the Holy Ghost. Now, there were many warnings that I immediately noticed as I decided to proceed down the freeway. I noticed a mirrored reflection of my headlights on the glass-like surface of the road. I noticed a deafening wind as it found its way through the cab of my truck. And I noticed this ominous sign on the side of a barn that literally did say, "Welcome to Windy Acres." Now, I did not know what to do at this time, but I did know one thing, that the Holy Ghost was definitely telling me, "What are you doing? I told you not to go." My moment of light and comprehension came to me at 2:15 a.m. in a combination of exhaustive struggling to control my truck on black ice and to drive like an obstacle course through snow drifts on the road. Overcome by impossible circumstances, my choice to remain upright and safe on the road was taken from me by overwhelming odds of misfortune. At mile marker 44 on Interstate I-86, I was violently blown into the median. As my tractor trailer and I began to roll over, I said out loud with what I thought were my final words, "I should have listened. I'm so sorry. Please take care of my family." Now, I fell into unconsciousness the moment before impact. The cab of my truck literally bent around me, as you can see. My body and was belted into a seat that had to be cut out of the cab. Many bystanders later commented on the miracle of my survival. I arrived at the hospital nearly 3 hours after my ill-fated decision, and 2 hard-fought months of mental and physical repair later, I made a full recovery from a major concussion, slightly fractured bones, and many stitches. Now, with all that time off, I had plenty of opportunity for pondering and soul searching. I soon understood that I had completely allowed the fears of my job loss and my driving reputation to overshadow the faith and power of protection of the Holy Ghost. My moment of epiphany came in an enlightened flash of comprehension during one of the darkest, deepest points of my nights of my life. A powerful lesson of faith and truth expressed through the Holy Ghost now serves as a light of hope and conviction in the uncertain spiritual darkness. I learned to never, ever be fearful of whispers in the dark again.